Dzień dobry, assalamu alaikum, ciao, konnichiwa, namaste. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're well. This is Ken at 10 live, coming to you from Southwest London, as usual, with the property news, topical news, and anything else that's going on locally, really. And given what's going on in the world, that thug Putin, I thought it was quite important that we showed you something that you might be able to do to help locally. There's a club in South London called the Polish White Eagle Club in Balham, and they're taking donations to help the Ukrainian people. And there's lots and lots of volunteers in there. Our colleague Eva has been up there and she's been volunteering, and there's lots of good work going on up there, and really fantastic to see the level of support they're giving. If you're wondering what you can give and how you can give it, then I'll show you once more. That's where you can go. Fantastic work being done there. They're taking it all, literally it's going straight into the back of the van. It's very helpful if you can label stuff as well, apparently, because obviously they need to get this stuff out urgently, and this is what they need. Lots of different things, from army stuff to, all sorts of things that you might not expect. I mean, some of it, I don't think you're going to be able to get, but things like coats, boots, hats, scarves are equally important. So, and label what you send to them so they know what it is in the boxes when you take them there. But I hope that's helpful. Some wonderful work being done up and down the country by people supporting the Ukrainian people. I have to say, it looks awful, doesn't it? Seeing those columns of tanks and troops just lining up to go in and spread bloodshed. And Zelensky, what a man, what an incredible man, so brave. Let's hope that he and the Ukrainian people can survive this vicious and unprovoked attack. So how are you? I hope you're well. Apart from that, weather here is a little bit grey and overcast. We're in Norbury, by the way, which is in between Streatham to the north and Croydon to the south. Part of southwest London, you may or may not know. A bit of a thoroughfare, so people tend to travel through. They go from Croydon to Streatham and they don't realise they're coming through. Hello, we're here, it's Norbury. So yeah, we're an area between areas, if you will. And why people come here? Great commuter zone, we're zone 3. We're a little bit cheaper than Streatham. So whereas in Streatham, the average price down there being a little bit higher, here you can get yourself a house for the price of a flat there, and with the same postcode, London SW16, and the same zone, zone 3. And lovely community here too. There's always lots of good people here doing good work. Apart from that, just some property news for you today, starting off with mortgage approvals. They're now at their highest since July. Figures from the Bank of England show mortgage approvals for house purchases lifted in January, showing some 73,922 approvals during the last month. This is the highest approval number since July 2021, and represents the third best January performance in the past decade, and it's actually higher than the 12-month pre-pandemic average. So a good sight there for a healthy market. The world's largest rental market is something I wanted to talk to you about as well. Quite surprising that we're actually, guess what, how many rank above us in terms of the size of our rental market? Well, you think of the large economies, don't you? But actually, there's the United States atop, then Germany, then Japan, then UK. We appear above France, which is a surprise given the size of their country, the size of ours. But yeah, we rank 4th in the global rankings for privately rented properties, with just United States, Germany, and Japan above us. There are estimated to be 29.5 million homes within the current property market. 30% of these are thought to be privately rented, meaning the UK's buy-to-let stock totals 8.7 million homes. And then you get the vilification of landlords, and people are like, do I want to do this anymore? Because I'm the devil incarnate, according to some sources. It certainly feels that way from the persecution that seems to be drawn down on landlords. We're always talking, aren't we, about the devil landlord and everything else. And in my experience, as I've said many times before, I'm sure they are out there, but most landlords are just people trying to make an income, trying to make something that can support their families or themselves, perhaps through education or perhaps through their retirement. Borrowing has fallen back a bit in January, according to the Bank of England, for credit cards and personal loans. And we tend to find this, don't we, in times of crisis and tragedy, such as the Ukraine crisis. People kind of batten down the hatches a little bit. I've always said, us Brits, when in doubt, do nout. And that's the fear for this year, really, in terms of the property market, is that we could be in a situation where there's still people looking, because there's a great demand for property, and that appetite never seems to wane as long as there's confidence around that property prices are at least staying where they are, if not going upwards. But also when people are worried, they tend not to move. And therefore, it could be that we see higher prices, but on a thinner volume of trade. So people be less likely to actually move this year. And that's a shame. I think there is the other side of the coin as well here in London, where because we've been locked down and because the market hasn't been as popular as some of the outlying areas, now all of a sudden people are going back to work. London is back in fashion and people are coming here. They are buying, and there is a new sense of confidence around that. It's great to see. Interesting article in the Evening Standard today. Roman Abramovich is selling. This Russian oligarch, this is an article in the Standard, he's selling off UK properties to avoid potential sanctions in the UK, according to an MP. Chris Bryant, the Labour MP and head of the Parliamentary Standards Committee, said the government was moving too slowly on imposing sanctions on those with alleged links to Vladimir Putin, following the invasion of Ukraine, of course. He told the Commons yesterday, I think Abramovich is terrified of being sanctioned, which is why he's already going to sell his home tomorrow and sell another flat as well. My anxiety is that we're taking too long about these things. Property market sources have claimed that his house in Kensington Palace Gardens was offered for sale at between 150 and 170 million, and that Abramovich was eager to sell quickly. One of his closest lieutenants was said to have contacted a large number of prime market agents. So there you go. It's getting to the rank and file of the elite of Russia, and that's what we want to see, isn't it? Pressure put on Putin. But he's such a volatile man. It's scary, isn't it? So apart from that, busy day on valuations today. We've got some training to go through for a new tech product we're using for lettings so that we can process references even quicker. We're talking same day within 3 hours, we're hoping. With the new open banking rules, they can make such a difference. So with open banking, what it means is that if we get a tenant's consent and they claim to be on a certain salary and they pay a certain rent, then we can actually get their permission to investigate their bank statement. And if they give us permission, we can then verify that reference within 3 hours. And by doing so, can then clear them for rent guarantee, which means we can literally move them in same day, which would be a great thing, great move forward. So looking forward to developing that more. Looking forward to the valuations today as well. Met some lovely people yesterday I met before and had some long chats. You know, on a valuation, you never quite know what you're going to get until you walk through the door. One of them was extremely tragic, really sad, an amazing lady. And the other one was an incredible lady that's just a ball of energy and also great to meet. So, you know, one of the great privileges of my job is being invited into people's most expensive asset and being asked to perhaps strategize and advise on that and get them to move from their biggest asset to another major investment, and being a cog in that, a very small cog in that massive turning wheel is a real privilege and something that I'm always grateful for. And you end up getting to know people so well, you know, they do become friends over the years. We've got so many vendors, purchasers, landlords and tenants that have become personal friends. And that's one of the great things about our business, is that relationships here can go on for years, decades even. You know, I've got some clients that are overseas in other countries, right around the world, still get in contact via email and via channels like this, and now and again shout out to us, and you think, oh wow, they're in Australia, you know, they're in New Zealand, they're in Hong Kong, whatever it is. And it's just a great privilege to do what we do. So I consider myself very lucky for that, very lucky to be in such a lovely town where people do have that sense of community still, and that sense of charity as well, which I think is so important, especially in the current times. My fear is the next thing will be the humanitarian crisis will grow in Ukraine, and we'll look to see what can be done about that and see what we can tell you that you can personally do. But in the meantime, if you can get there, there it is, the Polish White Eagle Club in Balham. Amazing work being done there. People are just turning up there and they're literally just donating their time and their goods. But if you're going to donate, then do speak to them ahead, find out exactly what's best. We have a small list here, but there are other things that you can send and help with. But make sure you label anything you bring. But if you can just bring yourself, go down there, have a chat with them. People are just turning up and saying, how can we help? And it's everyone right across the board, you know, and they're serving soup. Apparently it's very delicious, according to Eva, and they're doing all they can to help the poor people of Ukraine right now. So that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. Look after yourself. And if you can, your family. I'm looking forward to band night tonight. Some of you will know that on a Wednesday evening, I go up to town and play my saxophone. Not very well, but really enjoy doing it with my bandmates. And I'm looking forward to another session of that this evening. Great escape for me, music. I don't know about you, but for me, music, and particularly the saxophone, is one of the great joys of my life. So looking forward to that as always. And hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks very much for watching. We're back tomorrow with another show. Until then, Look after yourselves. Ciao.